Finally, the Cats got it done. Didn't think it was going to happen tonight, folks. I didn't think it was going to happen at all at halftime. Wasn't looking good. Was looking very grim against the old enemy in Richmond. But the Cats prevailed. 15 goals, 9.99. 10 goals, 9.69 by 30 points. Welcome to Post Game Live. My name is Ben Reeve. If this is your first time, welcome. It is a bit of a talkback show, except we're using webcams instead of radios or whatever phones. So if you want to jump in, I will post the link in the chat. I've got a few people, a few guests lined up, ready to go already, but keen to hear what your thoughts are on the game tonight. Some good things and some bad things, I'm sure, but the most important thing is we're back on the winners list. And isn't that a good feeling finally, somehow? Some concerns going into next week, though. Tom Stewart looks like he might be getting an HIA test for a possible concussion after attempting mark of the century there towards the end. I really like what I saw from Ollie Dempsey. The other Ollie Henry, is a bit of a concern, was limping at the end in his tracksuit pants and tracksuit top. So we'll see what happens there. And some good signs from some other young guys as well that are starting to find their way. So a great day of footy. The VFL team has won as well, 7 in a row. There's plenty to talk about. But let's get Brendan and Bianca on first tonight. Here they are. Hey guys,
what's going on?
I just got in. Walked up Noble Street from Cardinia Park. Lots of traffic tonight, but in the door. And I don't mind the long walk when you have a win. How are you feeling? How do you like the win? Bianca, I'll start with you. How's the winning feeling like?
Good. At halftime, my family went because it was so late and I had my game tomorrow. So, and then we came home and we watched the game and all of us were watching. And then when Shannon Neal kicked a few goals, and I think just Bose's last half was just fantastic.
Yeah, he was terrific, wasn't he, Bosey? Did he have 29 possessions today? And he did a really nice goal at one point there too.
Yeah. No, we were very worried. We were very worried. We kind of knew we were going to be leaving at halftime because Bianca's got to be up. She's got a game tomorrow morning at 8:00. She's playing an under 12 girls game, and my wife did a night shift last night, so she hadn't slept. So we made the decision to go. We'll go in for the first half because we already had tickets.
Fair enough.
And we were just like, "What is going on?"
Midfield.
We're like, this is going to look horrible. We're all walking out. We've got our sign. It looks like we've spat the dummy.
Yep.
Our team's down against Richmond and that. And then no, we watched the second half on TV and in the car. And
our midfield looked way better. We watched the VFL. Mitch Hardy, Ben Parker, George Stevens were just on fire.
They were pretty good, weren't they? Phoenix Foster did some nice things as well.
Mm-hmm.
So a good day for footy if you're a Geelong supporter. Maybe not so much if you're – I think you were there this morning, weren't you, watching the the VFL women. Nice to get a goal in the last quarter, but it's been a tough stretch of games for the women's team, but they keep trying. Win them all today.
No, yeah, they're struggling, but, the real stuff starts Monday. We saw
True.
Some of the girls were there. They're ready. They've come in from all over Australia, ready for pre-season. That starts Monday morning.
Beautiful. So we kick the boys out, do we, of the facilities and let the girls take over? Is that what happens?
Yeah. And what did you tell them what you did today?
I played Oz kick.
Oh yeah, how'd you go?
Good. I kicked 8 goals.
What?
And I didn't come best on ground.
And what was your celebration? Can you give us a little celebration? Oh, the little rev. There's one I've seen.
Daddy got the wild card of Charlie Cameron, and he said if I got a goal tomorrow, I can have all 3: Ollie Henry, Patrick Dangerfield, and Charlie Cameron.
Nice. I've seen her in basketball where it must have been Caitlin Clark or someone that was playing her. They were doing that thing across her face. I don't know what that one means, but. And then, you got it. I want to see some big celebrations from you in the next few weeks. Tell me about. We've got to talk a little bit Ollie Dempsey. I'll let you go first. You're the first guest tonight. I think there'll be a few people that'll come on and want to and sing his praises somewhat. So, what did you think of his game tonight?
What do you think?
You go first.
Oh, I thought he was great. He kept us in the game in the first half, really, and it was good. It was good to see, especially when you find out that the Rising Star race is now wide open.
Oh yes.
Because Harley Reid has got a 1-ban suspension.
So Reid and Darcy look like they're now ineligible.
Oh, what happened to Reid? I didn't see that one.
Reid did a sling tackle, and they reckon that he's going to get a week now. So both the two, it's now all betting is now suspended because now Darcy and Reid are out, and Ollie Dempsey gets 27 disposals and kicks 3 goals. It's like maybe there's a new leader. It's like so.
He's just rubbing his hands together, saying that earlier today, thinking, I might just pull my finger out and have a big one today. And 3 goals, as you said. How many touches? 27 touches.
27.
A couple of goal assists too. Throw that in. Why not? Yeah. He was terrific. And did you see it on the telly? He went to take a mark at one point, and the Richmond bloke was running towards him and trying to anticipate the flight of the ball, and he sort of faked to mark it. That was that was great. I was like, "You cheeky bugger!" But he pulled it off.
He pulled off.
He did some good things tonight. He was in the right place at a couple of times, but didn't need much opportunity, did he? He took the most of it. He made the most of it, I should say. Just terrific. He was terrific. I hope he puts it another. It'd be good to see him put 2 really good weeks together. Yeah. But as you said, Rising Star, it's up for grabs.
It's up for grabs now. It's wide open.
Who's the favourite? Anyone in the chat, let us know who's the favourite for the Rising Star right now. I'd love to know. Brendan, tell me a little bit. I want to ask you about one more player, but I'll let you tell me about another player. But I want to ask you what your thoughts were on Tom Atkins tonight.
No, very good. That's pretty much what you get when you play him as a midfielder. And we desperately needed it today.
So center clearances needed lots of help.
Yeah, he was really good. And then Jack Bowes in the second half, geez, that's a huge difference. If he can play like that every game, if he can find that, it's going to help us so much. He was phenomenal.
29 touches, 8 tackles, 9 clearances. What else did he get?
A goal and a behind.
Yeah.
Yep.
14
possessions.
Yeah. That's it. That's what we've been waiting for. If you can do that, and he was so clean. The
handball went.
And 11 inside 50s as well.
Perfect age, and he's a top 10 draft pick, I think. That's what we need. That's what we need from him. He's the perfect age. So that's it. Yep. That should be now. If you're Chris Scott, you tell him that's the level. That's what we want from you. That's it. You're the age. Everything's for you. Let's go.
You can't dip a little bit because you know what happens when you dip. Blokes like Brandon Parfitt had a slight, not a massive drop off, but he was basically at his ceiling for the fair part of 7 or 8 weeks of this year, and then just slightly dipped a bit, but it was enough to get him out of the team. And if you're not an absolute A grader, then that's probably what's going to happen. So, I'd love to see a couple of guys in the VFL get an opportunity, but I think the boys did enough today. Finally, didn't think we were going to have a friendly post-game live show tonight at halftime.
I was worried.
If Chris
I think we found out as well. I think we cracked the code about Mitch Hardy.
He is a rookie. He's rookie. He's on our rookie list.
I think that's why he's not playing. We've been waiting for weeks, and I think we've just found out he's not eligible to play.
I have no idea now because Chris Scott in his presser was talking about how he's really close. So I don't know.
No, that's what I thought, but I heard on Twitter that
Ted Closey.
Him and Ted Closey are ineligible because they're on the rookie list. Got to wait for a retirement or a long-term injury.
And Ted Closey got a few goals and a lot of disposals, so that makes out.
But can we handle 2 closies? I don't think we can handle it. I think we'll have to drop Brad if we play Ted. I think there's no way to do it.
Mate,
no? We can play both of them?
Yeah.
No, we can play 2 Henrys and 2 Guthries. Why not 2 closies? Completely unrelated, but why not?
And George Stevens just keeps getting better as well. I love George Stevens. I think he's going to be in a few years.
You put money on him to win the rookie.
I did in the preseason. I put $5 on him to win the Rising Star, to win like $800 or something. So, hey, it's open now.
Who's got money on Dempsey? That's what we need to know.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, I was just looking at the score worm, and we were like, what were we down by?
16.
We were down by 28 or something like that, about halfway through the second quarter.
Yeah.
And then the score worm just goes like that, straight up in the air. After that, they barely. I think they kicked 3 more goals after half time. Dusty looked like he was going to blow it up, but we put him to bed. Put Dustin Martin to bed early, which was nice.
Yeah. The stadium looked fantastic as well, like in the pregame. That looked amazing. I don't know if it's looked any better. Like the lighting and everything like that was just beautiful. Like the crowd were up and about. And,
Did you see this part where I don't think they paid a tackle, and then all the Geelong fans were just saying, I can't say it.
You can't say it.
Why not? Oh, it's a swear word.
There was a chant going around the GMHBA stadium.
Something to do with cows with horns?
That's the one.
And they're doing poos? Yep.
That's
anyway.
the one.
No, I did think tonight's show would be all about the umpires again, but I'm trying to not go there because it feels like every other week I go there. But anyway,
we won free kicks 19-20. So
why? How many holding the ball tackles did we win free kicks from tonight? I think that's probably where a lot of it came from. I'm not sure where you find those stats, but there was a lot.
And then there was a dangerous tackle after he didn't pay any free kicks, and then all of a sudden, dangerous tackle was like, oh, I'll give up.
But did you see this one where it was literal in the goal square? Who tackled him? Who tackled someone in the goal square where they just got to go? Someone tackled him. Umpire didn't pay holding the ball.
No, where
someone kicked the ball over Kolajasny's head, and it was a goal.
Yeah.
Very mistake by the umpires there.
I just shrugged my shoulders and said, "Oh well, everything is going wrong tonight. Nothing can go." That was at that point when things were looking doom and gloom. Like balls bouncing over our head, umpires not paying a free, and then sure enough, they get a goal. Happened 2 or 3 times, but let's keep it positive. It was a good win. We're back. We're 8-4 now. 8-4. We're not worried about Sydney, are we? We're not. No. We don't have any major concerns about playing the Swannies up at the SCG in a week. I think. No. I think we banked those 4 points pretty comfortably. And
we got Jack Bowes.
Really. Our midfielders need a bit of help. Heaney.
Who needs
Warner?
Who needs Warner when you got Jack Bowes?
And big baby Guthrie too. We've got big.
Exactly.
When you've got big baby Guthrie casting a shadow over you, you have no fear in this world. You just stride into life, just feeling like you can take on any challenge because you've got big baby Guthrie in your corner there. No, he's good. No stress about this morning. None at all.
I also think Jack Henry had a pretty good game. Sam DeConning was good. All of our backmans were really good. Like Kolajasny, he was fantastic. But
you know what? He's not going to be very pretty anymore because his nose goes that way and that way. So yeah, he's that's okay. He's already married though, so he's already had his wedding photos. So that's fine. All good, guys. Yeah, thanks for coming on again.
Tom Hawkins as well.
The young man
Tom Hawkins. Young man Tom
Hawkins.
He's back.
Like 10 years.
He's back. Give him another 3 years.
Another 4. 2 goals, Tommy. He's a champ. Kick some nice field kicks tonight too. Yeah. I'll let you go, guys. Thanks for coming on.
See you next week.
Take care. Good night. Take care.
Good night. Go
Cats! The old swear word chants, sports fan. I always start the swear word chants. So I was about that. That's okay. You're forgiven. You're forgiven. I'll throw another one here. Sports fan also says, Bowes, Brownlow medalist. He might some votes tonight. Then again, probably a few Cats could have argued that. Ollie Dempsey maybe gets some votes. Stewart was good for a while there. Max Holmes just keeps getting it and just looks so damaging and just carries the ball so far. He was terrific. Here we go. Christopher Kemp. Generally, we play okay at the SCG. Smaller ground helps our defence. Just need our midfield to play like the second half for 4 quarters. It's hard to play footy for 4 quarters, isn't it? All right, let's get the man that everybody loves. They love him so much. He talks a lot, though, but that's okay because people want to hear him talk. So we'll get him on. He's from the States. Ethan, here he is. Hello. Oh, some fresh duds on.
Got my camera worked out a little better. Can you guys hear me all right?
Your camera is schmick. It's very nice. And the audio is crisp.
It's the iPhone camera and audio. That's the trick.
Oh, beautiful.
I went back and tried to start rewatching the second half, trying to figure out who my votes go to since, on the show we're doing our own Brownlow this year.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, watching that without having to rewatch the first half, I feel a lot better because that first half was awful. Let's admit it. That first half was terrible. And
I thought it was the best football I've ever seen in my life. I don't know what you're talking about.
It felt so like a guy who shouldn't be beating us and Noah Cumberland going off. Like, when I think of Noah Cumberland, I think of when he played on at the end of that game against Freo instead of taking the shot that could have won him the game. But yeah, Tom Stewart, I think, did a lot to keep us afloat first half. Second half looked good. Bowes and Atkins racking up clearances after looking so slow for a half. That was nice to see. I've been very critical of Jack Henry. He played a very complete game. He did a great job all around and deserves a lot of credit. I think this might have been his best game of the year. It's definitely between this and the Carlton game. And that's against a forward group that I know, they're missing Tom Lynch, but Lafau is just a big ball of muscle.
He is.
I like him. He's a hell of a story too, isn't he?
No, it's a good story, that one. I was going to say, Jack Henry walked past us on the boundary at the end of the game, and he's a good-looking boy. So I say that.
Looks like
I'm very comfortable in my heterosexuality, no issues whatsoever. But he's a good-looking boy, I tell you what. Especially when you win. Continue.
I still think Ollie Dempsey could use a week of rest or a week as the sub or something, but man, he turned it on in the second half. He really got it going.
Yep.
Zach Tuohy still looks old and well past his prime, but he makes a couple of huge hustle plays in the fourth quarter, week in, week out. And just, the combination of Atkins and Bowes that I've gone back and I got about halfway through the third quarter, or no, 2/3 of the way through the third quarter here, rewatching it. Those two really took off, and we finally started getting some clearances. And I still like to see Parfit or Hardy in there. I saw Parfit at like 12 today, 12 clearances. But
something like that, yeah, he's good.
But much better. And Shannon Neal remembered how to use his hands. I thought Stewart played really well, though. I think he deserves a lot of credit for both kind of holding it, stopping the dam from breaking in the first half, and then second half, the way he kind of pushed things forward a bit. What else do I have written here? Let's see. I hate to say it, but this was not a very good game for Brian. His field kicking was very inaccurate.
Oh. Let's talk about that a little bit because I'm glad you brought that up. And I love Brian. Was your friend of the show? He's been on the show. Whatever. I'll call him a friend of the show. Oh, he was off tonight. Oh, he stunk it up.
Yeah, but
Brian, if you're watching, I love you. Don't get me wrong, but a couple of things tonight. I mean, you bloody work hard up and down the ground. No one's sort of saying you're not doing that. It's just a couple of disposals. Oh.
I'm just happy we got through it. Being able to play through a down game from him is encouraging. We got the ball more to Close in the second half, and look what happened. I keep saying, every time Brad Close has the ball, good things happen. I was watching the Saints play the Eagles before, and I've said, Tim Membry doesn't get the ball anywhere near as much as he should, but every time he gets it, you're going to score. Same deal with Brad. When he gets the ball, we score. And Shannon Neal remembered how to use his hands. That's huge.
He's got hands.
I think I'm trying to figure out, was this a pretty good game for Mitch Duncan? I think it was. I think he got a lot better as the game went on.
I'm not going to say anything about that. I'll let others talk about Mitch Duncan.
He had some pretty accurate field kicks in the second half. The first half still bothers me. And if I could look at just the second half, I'll be very happy. But we've had bad first halves for a month plus now. And, if you do that against better competition, you see what happens. We weren't able to recover from it against better opponents. And again, credit Richmond for playing a tough game and hanging in there. Like the last couple of weeks, you see what Noah Balta does to transform them. And they came off of Cumberland. I thought Liam Baker was easily their best player. He killed us first half. But unless Richmond goes out and gives a third straight good performance when they go to Adelaide, it's not, then I'll start to believe, hey, maybe we did something against pretty quality competition, but there's not a lot of reason to believe that we were going up against world beaters tonight. So that's why that first half was a concern. I was hoping we would have come out with more energy and some more leadership. Like, I think back to last week when Stewart kind of got everyone together and pointed some stuff out after giving up a goal early in the third quarter. It's like, maybe we're just missing someone who's willing to really be the bad guy,
Interesting you say that. I had a conversation with my wife the other day about, because we're watching Port Adelaide and they've got a couple of bikie crim mafia bosses playing for them. But I was thinking, have we got any bad guys playing for Geelong? Have we got any guys that you wouldn't want to meet in a back alley? And I mean, I don't know. They all seem like nice guys.
Yeah.
No one looks intimidating. No one looks scary. Look, Tom Stewart. I think we agreed Tom Stewart is probably the guy that has got the angriest face. But yeah, none of them seem to be anyone you'd be worried about too much.
Brad looks like an 1880s train robber, but
Brett Close.
Yeah, but still, I don't know how much of that, what went on behind closed doors, how much Selwood did with, holding people accountable. But it shouldn't have taken until halftime for that to get right. I'm glad that we adjusted. I'm glad that we started a third quarter well, because against Port and GWS, we did not. But there's still things we need to do a lot better. I'm feeling better about this game an hour after it than I did at the final siren. And some of that, again, watching back the second half without looking back at the first half, it's easier to feel a little better. If we just win one of these two games sandwiched around the bye, because they're against top-tier teams, I will feel really good again. Because then we'll have shown, we can beat someone, because we're playing legit teams the next couple games. But after watching informed teams like Hawthorn earlier today, it's hard to get that excited. It's like, I wanted to come up with a G-rated comparison. I think I got one. It's like having a lousy birthday party, winning like we did tonight. It's like, it's still your birthday, but it could have been a lot better. And I think I still don't love the lineup we rolled out tonight. I think we didn't have much of a midfield there, and I still fully believe in O'Sheen's potential. And I think that when his career is done, you could probably make a case that he's going to be on the best 22 of Irish players ever. But right now, he's not quite there yet, and I'd rather give him time in the twos, unless we're really just looking ahead to next year and beyond, because he's just not there yet. I love the ceiling. I love the potential, but that's a spot that could be better used, whether it's Parfit, Hardy, whoever. I will say, wasn't huge on O'Connor getting back in there, but he played a pretty physical game. And that second half out of Jack Bowes after he looked really slow first half. There were times when he slipped forward and did some work, and he was just really good on clearances, and I'm leaning towards calling him our best on ground tonight.
You won't be the only one.
I think
it'll be split. I think between when we do. Actually, I'm not trying to keep talking. I'll run a poll. If you're watching on Facebook, you might need to switch over to YouTube. But I'll run the poll on YouTube tonight. Keep talking.
I think it's between him and Atkins, and then third best would be one of Dempsey or maybe Duncan. But also, I do want to give, again, Stewart credit because he kept things afloat half. And Jack Henry, like I said, most complete game other than maybe the Carlton game. That's what Jack Henry's capable of. We're going to need that. So is it possible, another possible head injury for Stewart? Because I saw at the end of the game he was listed as injured.
Yeah, the doctor took him off the ground. I don't think he was happy to come off, but the doctor just saw something, and I think he had an awkward landing after trying to go for a mark. If that was the situation, I didn't see him come off, but I did hear on the radio afterwards that he wasn't too happy about.
Okay, because I saw, I wasn't sure if it was a doctor or physio or just a runner that they had shown him talking to at one point.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'm not too sure.
I will say, in terms of one-on-one defending, I'm less worried about the talls for next week, other than, maybe it's a game where Amarty can go off. I do like Amarty, but
true.
It's, the guys, the kind of like half forward midfield mix that's carried the Swans, the Warners and Heaney's.
It's going to be an interesting one that week against the Swans. I think, look, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't expect to win it. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to say it straight off the bat. I'm counting this as a loss. But it is the type Geelong is playing the type of football at the moment. You just really don't know what to expect. Like, I think there's been a lot of games where we should have won that we didn't, and Geelong somehow, in years gone past, we've just been amazing out of the blue sometimes. I don't know. I think Swans will be feeling pretty confident going into this one, and maybe we'll get them a little bit arrogant. I don't know.
The two things that make me that I could see working in our favor. One would be they just come out kind of out of their rhythm after a bye. The other is maybe they kick as poorly as they did last year when we played them at their place.
Yeah, maybe.
Because that was unbelievable. I mean, we should have lost that game last year by 3+ goals. And we salvaged a draw.
Oh, draws. Oh.
But
no more draws, please.
Love the way Max Holmes, once again, just consistent, really solid, bursting forward with speed. I don't think we got to appreciate Zach Guthrie as much tonight just because we were able to steer play forward more, so we didn't get to notice him as much. But almost everyone made a positive contribution at some point in this game. I think the only exceptions, really, Ollie Henry was not on ground enough to get much credit. And yeah, it was a rough game for Brian. 25% efficiency and 6 turnovers. I mean, even O'Sheen, who I think was probably our least impressive player tonight, when he had a couple of moments, he had a couple of nice runs and a couple of touches where he showed off the speed. This game was much more good enough than it was good. But we got to take blocks. We got to do something with it. I'm just, again, the more I think first half, the worse I feel. The more I think second half, the more I'm encouraged. Like, what changed other than telling guys, hey, play harder, go faster?
Some slight matchup, probably tweaks here or there. Some Geelong sort of settles into the game a little bit. It did feel very, it felt like we were watching the same Geelong from the last few weeks where, all right, we're giving a team a 30-point lead again, and we'll probably get back and into the game and we'll lose by a kick under 10 points. It just felt like one of those games was going to happen. And there'll be a controversial umpiring decision that'll cost us the game. And it's our fault because we got so far behind.
Fortunately, this was against a lesser quality opponent. And again, like I said, Richmond played hard. They had some good performances. I thought Baker was, like I said, tremendous. Jack Graham just tackles everybody. And Balta is so essential to their structure. And tell you who gave Brian a lot of trouble was Daniel Rioli. That was one of the reasons he wasn't very effective. And but we caught a few breaks, which you need. I thought other than that dangerous tackle call on Rowan, it's a pretty fairly umpired game. I think the change to the holding the ball rule, I don't think they overcorrected as much as I feared. They've overcorrected a little.
Yeah.
Too far.
Oh, that was fine. There's always going to be a couple that you think they should pay, and there's always that interpretation. That split second here or there.
Took offense a couple of times. They paid advantage against. When you look at that compared to the Port Adelaide game, that's That's bad.
Yep. Bring it back. It wasn't a kick to advantage in the end.
Yeah.
Bring it back. No. All right.
But like
we're paying it this time. Okay, fair enough. All right.
Yeah, that really pissed me off. There were like two of those. One where they did pay it, and then we ended up with a throw-in where it should have been Conway getting the shot. And then the one where Atkins handed it off, and it would have been a goal for, I think, Bose, and then they said, no, bring it back. Or was it Neal? I forget. Either way, it was Atkins handing it off. Yeah, it was Bose. But we caught it was nice to catch a couple things. Like, dudes like Noah Cumberland can't keep beating us every week, and he went quiet second half, and Nick Flostone kicking one from the goal square out on the full. That's rare. I love Nick Flostone, and him throwing us a bone was really nice. I mean, he is, even with Richmond where they are, he is such a high-level player. He's so smooth. I'd love to imagine a world of him and Stewart together, even if it was just in like an all-star game.
It'd be unfair. Be too good. I love to see an all-star game or a state of origin or some kind of representative football. Anyway, I'm not sure how they do it, but
it is tough. You look
captain's pick, maybe that's the way to do it these days.
You look at all-star games, and it's like the NBA all-star game. Nobody tries. But it would just be fun to see what that team would look like, just to have, some of those lineups out there together. Because, like, imagine, like some of our guys playing with Bont, for example.
Yeah.
But good enough. If we win one of the next two, then we'd be, 9-5?
Something like that. Yep.
Win one of the next two, and I'll feel pretty good.
You'd be happy with that. Twitter poll currently says Jack Bowes, 50% of the vote. Ollie Dempsey, 31% of the vote. No love for Tom Atkins, people. Normally there's lots of love for Tom, but maybe not so much this year. So
at halftime, I was saying we need to send a message by dropping him. And I still think if we keep slipping and this was just a matter of beating a team that's been shredded by injuries, he's the one to drop to really send a message. Because the players really like him. And it would kind of just teach guys like, hey, nobody's spot is guaranteed. So that's something to keep in the back of the mind. I hope it's not needed. I hope we just win and it's a non-factor. I hope he plays like he did in the second half, because first half he looked slow. Bose looked slow. Dempsey looked slow. Still want to find a week where we can get Dempsey off his feet, and whether it's just get him into the sub role or fully manage him, but yeah, he was good. When he crunched little one across the goal line to cut it to 3, that's when I started to be really optimistic about this game.
No, I thought we had it won about 10 minutes into the fourth quarter. I just felt like really Geelong was suffocating them, and we had that flow going. It wasn't pretty. But it was 2020 style of football, really. Like it wasn't pretty. We were playing mature football. We were controlling the play. We were controlling the tempo. They were still making mistakes here or there, but we were really locking down on Richmond as well, and they just couldn't get any drive and quick ball movement. They just didn't. They looked like they had no options when they were looking for targets, and we were just picking them off every chance we got.
I think mature is a great way to describe it. We didn't let a bad call hurt us. We just bounced back and made the next play.
That's good. That's what you want. Last one before I let you go. What about Tyson Stengel? He's been up for a bit. What did you think of his game tonight? I don't think anyone's touched on him really in a lot of depth at the moment, but he did some good things tonight. But I don't know. Just maybe the game wasn't being played on his terms or something.
I've liked him a lot. I think he's much closer to his 2022 form than the form we saw last year. And I think he's been a net positive contributor pretty much every week, even if the ball didn't get his way.
Yeah, he's a small forward. It doesn't always go your way.
Yeah, I think it's more of a priority where, I don't want to force the ball to anyone in the forward half, because that's when you start bombing it into packs where you don't have numbers. But if you're going to force it to anyone, I still say Brad Close is the guy we got to force it to. Because the moment he touches it, something good happens. And then the ball will get to Stengel. The ball will get to Shannon Neal. The ball gets to everybody else once we get it.
Get it to him.
There we go. Yeah.
Get it to Brad. Get it to Brad. Brad says yes. Get it to me.
Everything else just works. I'll keep saying, every team has that guy. Essendon, it's Matt Guelphy. Every team has that guy. Brad's that guy for us.
Get it to Brad. Get it to Ted as well next week, maybe. Ted Closey, if he's allowed to play. I'm not sure of the rules, but we'll see.
I didn't see the VFL game, but his numbers were terrific.
He looked good.
27 touches.
Yeah, a few of these boys look like they're ready to roll at AFL level. It's just, when's the opportunity going to come? It's going to be tough, but you're not going to get them all. Not everyone will get an opportunity, and some of them will probably get delisted before they get a chance. Hopefully, if that happens, there's either a trade or some other club will pick them up. But it's just this. It's the VFL team's looking really good. I know this is a post-game AFL live show, but if you don't watch much VFL, and I don't expect everyone does, but there's a lot of talent coming through that. So feel good about the next few years, Cats fans. I think we've got a few good things on the horizon there, and hopefully we're still a destination club for a year or two longer.
Let's be a destination club for, we've got 2 Guthries, we've got 2 Henrys. Can we get a second Closey? Have you seen Ted's brother?
Sam.
He's something. I'm all in.
Let's get another one. Let's get some more Toms and Ollies as well.
Yeah. And speaking of VFL, up the burgers.
Who are the burgers? Oh, you've lost me there.
Coburg.
Oh, the burgers. Go the burgers.
So, got a soft spot for them. Like a distant relative, like 170 years ago, wrote the song "California, Here I Come," which is the tune that they made their club song off. So, got more of a actual connection to Coburg than probably any other club. And they've doubled their win total. They're up to 2.
Very good.
They beat Casey.
As long as they don't get in our way, I'm okay.
Yeah,
but I'm okay. All right, mate. I'll let you go. Got a couple more in the chat.
Yep. Thanks
for coming on. We'll have to do. I don't know if I'll be around next week. Actually, I'm on a weekend away with my wife, so I might have to see if one of the other Paul or Jake or someone else can maybe steer the ship.
Where are you heading
next week? Not far. It's still in Victoria, down to Apollo Bay. So if you live in Apollo Bay, come say hi while I'm having a bacon and eggs one morning. Just a quick weekend getaway, but long weekend in Australia this coming weekend. We get a 3-day weekend. So King's birthday. Good old Charlie's having a birthday. Well, he's not, but it's the day we get for it anyway.
But I'll still be watching games, but I'll be on Eastern Central Time, so it'll be
very nice.
Good to be back in the winners column.
Go Cats. Thanks, Ethan. See you soon, mate. All right. I've got Darren. I'll get to you in a sec, Darren. Just a couple of quick comments here. John, I'm not sure if John's coming on tonight. He was at the game. He's probably driving back to his abode, but John says Ben's not a big Bowes guy. I think he's coming around. I think I am, Johnny. Slowly but surely I'm coming around to Bowes. He'll get me at some stage. Kyrie's another one at the game tonight. I met Kyrie for the first time tonight. It was good to catch up at halftime. He was on the opposite side of the ground from me. Somehow you found a way to make it all the way across. I'm sure you missed about 10 minutes of the third quarter. But, yeah, you were pretty happy with the result, I could tell. And I'm glad that the Cats did the right thing for you when you've travelled all the way from South Australia to get there. And a bit of love for Brendan and Bianca here. Well, mostly not much for you, Brendan, but Vince says half the reason I tune into this is Bianca. She's gorgeous, knows exactly what she's talking about. Hope she's a future AFLW star. Well, apparently she's already signed a 15-year contract with the Cats. So, no, I kid, but let's hope so. And if not, an AFLW star, an AFLW or a football journo, that's what we'd love to see. She does a bit of content. You have to follow her or follow Dad. I'm not sure what the channel is. I'm sure Brendan will post it if he's still watching in the chat below, so you can check out Bianca's commentary of that one. Last one before I get into Darren. Ian says, also appreciate the progression of Mullen. Plenty of growth left in him, but I think he's shown that he's going to be a very good AFL footballer. I think don't be too hard on Mullen, people. I think he's going to have some strange moments, but I think it'll all pay off in 2025. I think you're going to see him, I won't say take over the AFL, but he will become a very good AFL player in 2025. I think we've just got to get as many games in him. Let's get 40, 45 games into him, and then he'll be ready to go. He'll take off. You just got to be patient. You're not going to get him to take off by playing 40 to 45 games in the VFL. It's at this level that he really needs to find that touch. So hopefully we give him those opportunities. But Darren's ready to go. He's happy. He didn't come on. He wouldn't come on for the last couple of weeks because we've had some losses. He told me he'd come on if he was feeling good, but he's not. Hopefully he's not too grumpy. Maybe he is though, but we'll see. Here he is. Hello.
G'day. How you going, mate?
I'm good. How are you feeling?
Well, I don't beat around the bush, so
all right.
let's just say that it's good to be on. Our young Bianca, I think she's fantastic. So if Geelong wants a rising star, she'll be right up there. I love Ethan from the USA, and there's also another Americans watching AFL on Twitter. He's fantastic as well.
Craig, yeah,
fantastic. Craig Wessels, I think it is. But look, I am not going to get carried away with what we did tonight. Unfortunately, I went to the game by myself because illness with a partner and both my partner and a mate were crook. But I sat there during the second quarter and I thought, oh, my God, don't tell me we're going to lose to a Richmond VFL team. You know what I mean? And I sat there with the legs crossed. I had a couple empty seats beside me and I was really disgusted, actually. I'm not going to be one of these ones. I love the club. They've been
I know. Yep.
My life for a very long time, for 50 years. I'm 58 this year, and not that you can tell, but I'm not. Look, if anyone's getting carried away with how we beat Richmond tonight, they've got to have a really good hard look at themselves. And there's a lot of blokes who were in tonight's team that probably shouldn't be there. There's a lot of blokes in the VFL who are busting their absolute backsides, and Chris Scott refuses to play them. And I don't know, Ben, if you looked at social media on Thursday night when the Geelong team was named, I've never seen social media melt the way it is, and I think that's the way we are travelling because the fans aren't happy. If anyone walked out of tonight's game thought we're back, then honestly, you're either a one-eyed Geelong supporter or you don't know much about footy. So, and
or you're near a Richmond supporter and you're just sort of ribbing them a little bit, possibly.
No, I can't even look. I couldn't even look at them. I'm in the social club, and there was a cut. I can't look at what they did to us in 2017 and 2019 at the MCG. I can't look at them, but probably luckily they even were allowed to come into the ground today. But anyway, that's another thing. And they've got their own problems, and I don't care. But for us to win only by 5 goals tonight against a team that's decimated by injuries, that's not a good sign for the Cats, Ben.
No, look, I think you're right. Like, I think, I don't know what margin we could have won by tonight where you'd walk away feeling, and I'm saying you, but just Cats fans generally, where you'd walk away feeling like, oh, we're back. We are absolutely back. Maybe 157 points. We beat the Tigers by 100. You'd think, oh, okay, we've just found the winning formula, but I don't know, 80 points. Nah, it's not going to cut it for me. It's Richmond. We won by 30. You could call it. You could say, you could spin it in a different way. Oh, we there's a 50-point turnaround. You could say, well, the game started halfway through the second quarter, and if we just said, oh, well, that's when it started from, the Cats finally woke up, fair enough, 50-point win. The score sheet will say it's a 30-point win. We take it. A lot of people will probably just walk away. I know I looked around at my wife at the end of it and said, thank God. That's all I really needed. I wouldn't have done it, but I half thought about it, and I feel bad even saying this out loud, but the rain started coming down in that second quarter, and I was ready to go home. I was ready to go home. Matthew Nichols was driving me bonkers, the umpire, who just, for some reason, hates Geelong. I don't know what it is. We must have done something to him 10 years ago, but he hates us. And yeah, I was ready. I had enough at that point. I thought, I can't do this. I'm hosting I host a YouTube channel about the Cats. I can't be walking at it at halftime. But I love what I will say, and I appreciate you sharing your thoughts. I love that all Geelong supporters see the game differently, and I don't want people to come on the show and just give the same answers, the same opinions. I don't want everyone to be positive. I don't want everyone to be negative either. I like that we've got a spectrum, a range of different opinions, a range of different personalities. There's no one type of Geelong supporter. And I think that's what I think the good thing about this show and other shows that other clubs put on their own post-game live stuff as well, whatever they call it. But just hearing the fans' voices, I think it means a lot. And you hear it in the crowd, and it's nice to sort of come back. I used to love putting the radio on, Darren, and just listening to Cat supporters talk about things that maybe I hadn't considered before, and have a whinge about, I was pissed off about that too. I thought that was great. So yeah, no, I love it. I love all this stuff.
No, you're spot on, Ben. And you got some great guests that come on here, on regular guests. I watch your show every week, and no disrespect, they have their views and we have ours. And I want Geelong to win every week. When we were 7-0, geez, it was very exciting. And the last month we lost 3 games by less than 8 points. The Gold Coast game, you just write that off. That just wasn't any good up there. But to be honest, Ben, I've never seen Geelong have a lack of a midfield. There are more local teams in the Geelong Football League, the Ballerine Football League, the GDFL Football League, where they'll have a midfield. They'll have something. They might not always win. Now, we've got a problem here, and I'm going back to Thursday night's team, where we have some boys in the VFL who are busting their backsides to get into the Geelong senior team. Big body guys getting a heap of possessions. Now, you might get 35 in the VFL, and when you come into the AFL, it might only be worth 20. But I tell you what, if Mitch Hardy and Manor, Parfitt were in the Geelong team in the middle, they'll be doing a lot better than what the guys we got in the centre today over the last month. It's quite frankly, it's a bit embarrassing. We've got now. There's some boys in tonight's team. Yes, they do have a dip, but all they do is chase, or they'll tackle. They don't dominate and get the ball out. Now, when we watch other teams on TV, Ben, other teams, I watched Hawthorn today. I can't stand them. I hate their guts, right? Hawthorn are 2 years ahead of us. In 2 years' time, they'll be in front of Geelong because they've got some boys in there. Yeah, no. They've got some boys in that team that are way ahead of who played tonight and also who is in our VFL team. Now, I'm not sure what's going on with Chris Scott. I'll be honest, I've never been a fan of the bloke, right? I should have more premiership posters in my back wall here than what I've got.
What have you got?
2 or 3 short.
Have you got all 4, the recent ones?
They're all here, mate.
The whole lot.
The whole lot, mate. Yep. Plus some anyway, some Guernseys. But Chris Scott's starting to be a bit of a smart aleck. he's trying to be like the media friendly bloke, right? Being a good bloke on Fox Footy and AFL 360. I think he talks a lot of crap. What I don't know if Ben, and I think I might have sent you a DM on Twitter. I said,
you did, yeah.
Did you see his press conference? I have
about Mitch Hardy.
Oh yeah, like, you know, we love the club, and you don't want to be negative, but sometimes in life, Ben, you've got to be positive. You've got to be truthful. You know what I mean? I think Chris Scott's press conference on Thursday afternoon or Friday, whatever it was, is an indictment of how we've been playing for the last month. I'm worried. You know, I'm really worried. We have an opportunity. I think Sydney, they're the standout team, but it's only round 12. The rest of the competition, I think we can match any of them. The premiership's wide open, but geez, we've got to pull our finger out. And Chris Scott, he's the boss, and he's got to start pulling his finger out. So,
look, I don't think you're not going to be the only one. I don't think you're not standing out in the crowd thinking, oh, you're the only one with this opinion. There's lots of people out there with the opinion that, and I've had the thoughts cross my mind a couple of times. I don't know if I've settled one way or another, to be fair, but I've questioned to probably maybe privately, maybe public. I can't remember what I've said on this show before, but I have questioned whether it's when it gets hard, when Geelong's really struggling, can Chris Scott drop some of these premiership players that have bled for him and won him a couple of premierships? You know, can he drop a Tom Hawkins? Can he drop a Mitch Duncan instead of just managing them? And I make a joke once in a while about, oh, you know, that manages the new omitted. But these guys don't go back to the VFL. I think Reece Stanley's probably the first bloke in a long time that's been a regular 22 player for us that's finally gone back to the VFL. Finally. Cam Guthrie probably maybe just to get a game or two, but no one gets sent back down, and I think that's going to be a tough one. I think what it's going to be, I don't know. I don't know if I'm really ready to crack into Chris Scott just yet. And I appreciate, you know, it takes a lot of good people at a football club to win a premiership. But yeah, I've questioned whether it's going to be easy for him to make those tough calls. He made some tough calls after the three premierships. Some of those older guys, he moved them on. Chappie, Kelly, Stokesy, all those guys. Josh Hunt, you know, he moved a bunch on. But can he do it with these guys that have, you know, been there since day one with him? Really, I don't know. That's probably I don't know. I love the guy too, but that's the thing I just worry about. Can you make those tough calls? And I'm sure he's probably asking himself that too. Like, and he has done that. I've heard him say that publicly. Am I the right guy for the club right now? And I remember in 22, Joel Selwood and the boys said, yeah, you are, and went on and won a premiership. But you probably do need to ask yourself that question every few years, and that goes the same with everyone in every occupation in life. Am I, you know, should I still be doing this job? You know, am I doing harm, or am I doing harm to myself? Am I doing harm to the business? Should I move on and look for another opportunity somewhere? I don't know. I don't think we're at that point yet, but I totally see where you're coming from, Darren, there, and I don't judge you for that opinion at all.
No, and well said, Ben. And let's just say that he's not bad for business, because he's not bad for business.
He's a pro.
Yeah, exactly. But sometimes you've just got to make those decisions to be able to at least give the people that actually support the club some sort of hope. And there's some boys in that team, there's some boys in that senior team that probably are getting a game when they shouldn't be. It's funny, like a couple of your calls tonight have raved on about Jack Bowes. Well,
yeah,
you know, like seriously, 3 weeks before that, he'd be lucky to get a game. There's probably about Ollie Henry, honestly, for a bloke that goes up for 8 marks of the year per game, takes one, kicks 1 goal a game, should be dropped. You know, there's a lot more, but going back to Chris Scott. Now we don't want to come across as negative, because we love the club. The people that watch your show love the club. You love the club. Paul loves the club. But Scott's he's not giving those boys in the VFL any confidence to actually say, you know what, if I keep playing hard, I'm going to have an opportunity to come into the senior team. It's not happening. Now, if you run a business and you're not rewarding the staff that you've got, what happens in the end? They start to drop away, right? I think we're lucky at the moment that the VFL keep winning, which is a great thing for the club, because you need, like the Melbourne Football Club, their seconds have always been, they've been up there in the finals for a long time now, and it's sort of rubbed onto the senior team. And best, if you want to go for best players, I thought Max Home was probably the best on ground for the Cats. His run was fantastic.
He's got 14% of the vote on YouTube at the moment.
Yeah,
I think Ollie Dempsey's at the front, mate.
I see some of the votes on Twitter with your polls. And I go,
oh yeah, we don't always agree, do we? Like, it's funny. I look at it and go,
I think, are the people watching the same games that we do? Tanner Broom was fantastic. Honestly, Geelong's been poor for the last month. Well, that kid has absolutely busted his backside. Absolutely busted his backside. There's not too much more after that. Like, for us to beat Richmond only by 5 goals, we should have beaten them by 10 plus. You know what I mean? Percentage would have been nice, but anyway, we'll take the 4 points.
Where are we? Before I let you go, let's have a quick look at that. I'm just
It'll
going
be
to pull
interesting to know.
Collingwood lost and Port lost, so yeah.
We could be in 4th by the end of the weekend.
3rd, right now. Yeah.
3rd, yeah.
We jumped ahead of Port by a percentage and a bit.
Yep.
And we're ahead of Carlton again. Melbourne, I think, needs to play still, unless they're having a bye. I can't remember who's having a bye this week. But
the Demons. I think the Demons have got a bye. They play tomorrow, don't they?
I can't remember.
I know Sydney GWS got a bye.
Yeah, Melbourne's playing, and Essendon and Gold Coast are playing. So the 2 Sydney teams have got the bye. North has got the bye, and Brisbane got the bye. But we don't really we're not really worrying about them too much. Probably it's Giants in Sydney. Yeah.
Let's go Gold Coast on Sunday. Hopefully beat Essendon, because they think they've won the premiership already.
I knew you wouldn't like Essendon. I could tell. I could tell they'd rub you the wrong way.
No. I just hate those big clubs in Melbourne. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I hate them. So yeah.
I don't want good things to happen to them anyway.
No.
Thanks for coming on, mate. It's been good. Right, I appreciate you coming on. I was glad to get you on again, because I want what I really want, and I'm sure a few people watching would probably love to see you come on and just absolutely spit venom after a loss. that'd be good. That'll be interesting viewing, actually.
Well, Ben, a couple of weeks ago, I watched the show. Even I won't go on, because I'll just get too angry. But Paul the other day, he was swearing, and my missus goes, "Oh, have a listen to him." I thought, geez, I sort of try and hold myself back, but I love his passion too. I love his honesty too about Paul. Like, I love his honesty, and I love your honesty, and I love the guys that come onto the show, and I love your Twitter feed, mate. Probably need to write some more stuff on there. Get us out, get some more info out there for us on Twitter. That'd be great. All right.
Got to build up the Facebook one as well.
Before I go,
people on the Facebook page.
Before I go,
yeah,
Geelong's the sort of team that can beat Sydney next week, right? Sydney are ahead of himself at the moment. They are due for a loss, just like any top team that's flying in any other year. They are due for a loss. I've been to SCG the last 3 years in a row, and we do play well there. But they are due for a loss. And if I tell you what, if we win next week, then we have a week's rest. Because I think the actual group does need a rest, right?
Yeah.
And then we play Carlton, and then we'll go from there.
I can't wait to play Carlton again. Oh,
No.
they're fans. No, there's a couple of fans I absolutely love from the Blue Abroad channel. A couple of those guys on YouTube that they're one of my favourites. But geez, some fans in the crowd. Goodness me.
No.
Anyway, I'll go on forever if I start down that path. But every club's got them. I sat next to one today from Geelong. Oh, the worst fan I've ever sat to in my life. Sat next to in my life. I won't go there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Geelong,
Anyway.
you know what the problem with Geelong, Ben, is we're too conservative. We sit there like we do that. Like it was a bit noisy tonight, but actually, before one more thing before I go, for your listeners and your viewers, I watched Cameron Ling interview Michael Turner. It's like the final bell or something like that.
Yeah.
Get on and have a look at that. Mickey Turner, his love for the club and his knowledge for the football club is fantastic. But he does make a great comment about the Geelong crowds. Get onto it and have a look.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to have a look at that one.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, mate. I really appreciate it.
Take care, mate. God bless. See ya.
Yeah, buddy. Take care, mate.
You too.
All right, a couple more comments. I've got Lucas in the chat there. If you're still around, Lucas. There he's got his camera on. Beautiful. Before I get to him, just a couple of comments. Brandon, midfield got past yet again. Clearly, that's the weakness at the moment. It's a worry. Some good signs in the second half, but again, a couple of quarters where we just didn't look up to it against the 17th team in the comp. It's a worry when they're running rings around you. That's a concern. The Strider Knight, welcome to the show. Sydney will beat Geelong with that performance. If Danger's back in, I don't think the result will change other than how the midfielders go. Swans will think we are pathetic with that result. Yeah, maybe they will. Maybe that's the master plan, that we get the Swans thinking we're no good. We put in a dud performance like that and we just roll out we start pouring champagne and turning up in limos next week and just absolutely roll them by 45 or something. So that'll be nice. But Lucas is on next. He's been waiting patiently. I think he's our last guest to come on. I have posted the link in the chat if you want to get on after Lucas, the last one, but otherwise that he might wrap it up for us. But here he is. How's it going, buddy?
Not too bad. Yourself, Ben?
I'm feeling very chipper. I'm very good. I'm pleased with the win. I'm not getting too carried away, Lucas. I don't know how you're feeling. Have you booked your grand final accommodation for late September, or are you just going to wait and see for a little bit longer?
No, I'm afraid not. We'll wait for the Sydney game to pass judgment for that one, Ben. Especially the first half. I was more planning for next season. Terrible first half. The way Richmond, as I said the last 3 weeks, the ease that Richmond were getting it out their centre clearances, especially Liam Baker. He looked like prime Gazza Jr. out there. He
dodging and weaving and ducking and all that stuff.
Couldn't lay it. No disrespect to Liam Baker. He is a good player, but he made our players look bad in that midfield in that first half. Completely destroyed us. And the alarming thing is that Richmond are not a clearance team. And when they are a clearance team, their best player in the clearance is Prestia, who's injured. Yeah. So when they went up by 25 points, I thought, oh no, goodness gracious me, what the hell is going on? So I'm glad we won, and I didn't have to carry on like an idiot and embarrass myself on here.
They make good content, Lucas, when people do that. So I'm more than happy to just poke the get people on that just want to embarrass themselves, and I'll just edit that little bit and I'll put that as the show promo or something on the social. If you
Lucas loses, that's a good thing. But the first half when we rolled with Duncan, Atkins, Myers, I was screaming out after the first quarter, for goodness sake, Chris Scott, man, get someone else in that bloody midfield. I don't care if it's Tom Stewart, I don't care if it's Jeremy Cameron. Damn, I would have taken Stengel in there, for crying out loud. That's how bad it was. And then after the second half, I saw Bose go in there. And I thought, oh my God, we're going to get absolutely thumped. Bose was fantastic in that second half. Won us clearances, and then Max Holmes lifted in the second half. Bose in the first half only had I think he only had 9 disposals. He was just completely missing. And then I think he had 10 in the third quarter, and I think it was 11 in the fourth quarter. Or something along those lines. But he really picked up in that second half, especially in the clearances. And unlike the Port game or unlike the GWS, so more like the GWS game where we got in front, I was like, oh, can we stay in front? And then Richmond, they ran out of legs. You can see that they were tired. But the scoreboard kind of flattens Richmond a bit. They were better than the 30-point win. They were much better than that, Richmond. I thought, for some reason, opposition teams can't kick straight in Geelong, which is a good thing for us because they missed a lot of set shots in that second quarter. If you can remember, I think they missed 2 or 3. Sampson missed 1. He was their other forward. They were just shocking.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh my, thank God they're missing these set shots because it could have been so much worse. Then anything could have happened and it would have been an absolute disaster night. But we got in front. Richmond, they didn't have the legs to go at us. And as you said a little bit earlier, we suffocated them in that fourth quarter. They had nowhere to go. Max Holmes was very good in that second half. As I mentioned, Bose. Close. I thought in that fourth quarter was good as well, kicking that goal.
Close was good. I thought he was pretty handy, but I guess you have to watch it on. Sometimes you're watching it on TV the day after, you sort of see some different things that you don't see at the game because you're at that sort of, you've got that different. I sit about 3 rows from the front, and it's sort of like that ground level angle, and you can't always see the spacing and there's too much congestion at eye level, so you need that sort of bird's eye view, or not bird's eye, but a little bit more of an angle like the TV to sort of get
a little bit more perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And they do say when you watch it on TV, you do watch more than the actual game going to the game itself, depending where you sit.
Window, you're only seeing what the camera shows you on TV. There's a trade.
No, that's true. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. But I want to mention Conway in the ruck. I love how he tries, but he's still dropping those marks he's getting 2 hands to. And I just think, oh man, I just wish you can just grab onto those marks. If you do that, you can become an A grader easily, but he's just dropping too many marks at this moment. And you're thinking, oh, it's like pulling teeth.
You'll get there.
I thought, Stewart, quietish night. Was again, don't think he was bad. I think he was pretty average. If you want to say solid like he was last week, he wasn't bad. I think Jack Henry was probably the best of our backs. Probably by a fair bit. But I was just ready to 10 bar after that second half.
Zach Guthrie was quiet for most of the game. I think might have been the third quarter he started looking really good. He's probably one of our better players in the third quarter, I thought.
Yeah. But he kicked that goal. He kicked that important goal in that third.
You're probably right.
I think it was Guthrie. Yeah, I think
he was
Zach
everywhere in the third quarter, and I didn't see him as much in the rest of it. So the ball kept finding him, I suppose. And, and he came over to us. He came over to us at the end of the game. Not to me. He didn't make a beeline towards me. He doesn't know who the hell I am, but I made sure I put both the Dukes up. Big baby Guthrie, and then he just gave some little kid a football, which is nice. So
fantastic. But so it's always good when the footballers give footies out to little kids. Just makes their night just a little bit more special.
I love it,
especially if they win.
Unless you get the footy whipped out of your hands by an adult man or a big kid or something like that, which Paul took his son to the footy one time, and after Tom Hawkins handed him a footy and some other kid ripped it out of his hands. And then true story, Paul reached out to Brian Myers because we were in touch with Brian for a little bit there, and and Brian went and got another footy signed by Tom and sent it to him in the post a couple of days later.
Oh, fantastic!
So that's the kind of stuff these footy players do for their fans. They're pretty nice guys, really.
Oh, absolutely. I've got my own signed football of the whole Geelong team. Well, not the whole Geelong team, but majority of them. When I went to gather around when they had their only open training session at Woodville West Torrens ground, and I had the pleasure of taking some photos, getting some autographs. Thank God I got Dangerfields and Tom Stewart and Hawkins. Didn't get a photo of Hawkins. That was a little bit sad, but I did of the other two. But no, it's always good when you can interact with your players from your own club or whatnot. I think that's pretty special.
Yeah, no, they're all. I mean, they can't get around to 40,000 people at a game of football,
no.
But they do what they can, and sometimes they do go that extra mile when they're not expected to or asked to, or it's not noticed. But yeah, sometimes it's worth when you can pointing out some of the good stuff that they do as well. It's a good football club. There's generally good people at this football club, not just the players, but the whole club. There's that tends to be the way they like to look at running that place. They try to get good people in there where they can, and they tend to sort of move people out that aren't really meeting those standards.
Absolutely, and that's what I like about Geelong Football Club.
The biggest prick in the world. Sorry, Mitch, I'm joking, Mitch. But you must be the biggest prick in the world because you're not getting a game. So what are you doing wrong, Mitch? How about you do some hospital visits or something? I don't know. Do something because you're clearly not ticking the box for the nice guy thing. There must be a reason why you're not getting a game. Sorry, I'm cutting you off.
I think was it Darren? Your last caller, Darren?
Yeah.
He mentioned that when the selection was made, people for selection went ballistic. I was actually one of those people. I was like, what the hell are you doing, man? Do you not care about us getting smashed in the centers in the clearances and whatnot? What is going on? What's he done? Have you done something to him? Or sorry, has he done something to you? Goodness gracious me. So
actually,
Chris, if you're watching, if Chris Scott's watching, please play him sooner rather than later. Preferably next game.
Of course he's watching. That's what he does.
Yeah.
He doesn't worry about reviewing the game. He's like, shit, I better send the boys home. I got to go on post game live because Ben and his cast of nitwits have got things they want to say. They want the world to know. No, clearly. I was going to say, with the Mitch Hardy thing, I kind of felt like, with the 37 touches last week, geez, there was going to be some interest in him through the week, especially on Thursday night, waiting for the teams to drop. So I said to Paul, might be a good idea to do a little video about Mitch Hardy.
Yeah.
A little 10-minute video. I thought,
you mentioned that last week. Maybe we can go live and discuss selection.
Yes.
I guarantee you would have got your meltdown on that video clip. Not just for me, but I think
meltdown. That's what we'll call it. And we'll just go
exactly. So please play him sooner than later because he is our future. But I'll tell you which person I won't be getting an autograph is from a certain umpire called Nichols. I don't know what his problem is against Geelong, for goodness sake, but every time I see him umpiring Geelong games, I'm like, oh my God, what are you going to do, man? What are you going to do to us? And I don't know. I can't remember any of our players abusing him or our umpires cop it from all sorts of fans on every night the umpire. But I don't know what we've done to this man just to get so much hate from him.
There's history there with him. Like I will never ever forget how he screwed us when we played Sydney and he didn't pay the mark to Jeremy Cameron. I'll never forget, never forgive. It's interesting. I'm a little torn, Lucas, with umpiring, talking about umpires, even though I tend to sort of say it anyway. Only because we had Razor Ray Chamberlain come on the show once, and I felt like, he's a human being. He's a human being. And I'm like, I feel bad saying bad things about his colleagues because it's like people you work with, or someone you're friends with. If you hear someone picking on them, like it's not it's not stuff you really want to hear. So, but that was an interesting chat though that Paul had with him. I reckon it was about a year ago now.
I saw the video. He actually came across as a very nice guy.
Yeah,
in that interview.
Yeah. I mean, just he rubs people the wrong way on the field. I've just posted the link in the chat if anyone's keen to check that video out. But he's bloody wouldn't shut up too. It went for about an hour and 20 minutes. He goes on and on and on. But Matthew Nichols,
we'll like that sometimes, Ben. I'm a bit of a chatterbox, especially if we lose or if we win or if I'm feeling emotion. I'll tweet about it, within reason, and sometimes lose my marbles, and sometimes think, oh yes, go Geelong, try to rev up myself. But I was just pleased more with the second half, because, like I said, if we would have lost that game, I think that would have probably put a line through our season.
No, 100%. That probably wouldn't. Well, no, sorry, not to put a line. It wouldn't put a line through finals necessarily. But I think Blind Freddie could say you're not winning a grand final. You lose.
No. You're not making top.
Probably not winning against Sydney, really.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Sometimes you've got to sit back and go, hang on a sec, we've just won 4 premierships in about 17 years. We're pretty lucky. Doesn't mean you can't feel emotions, and that's probably why I love football. And, I don't always agree with people, but what I do love is I love that everyone's got a different opinion. And the other thing I say about this show, and probably anything that we do on the channel, is you just don't make it personal. You treat people with respect and have your opinion, and hopefully people maybe listen to other people's opinions as well. That's probably the one thing I'll say. You don't have to agree with them, but maybe give them a chance. They might say something you agree with. Maybe they won't. But it's totally fine to disagree. But that's why these types of shows are good, I reckon. So we just need a good host. I reckon that's all. That's all it really needs. The guests are fine. It's just the host is a mug. Get him off.
I love both the hosts of this channel, Ben, you and Paul.
Jake, we love you too. Don't forget Jake.
Jake, sorry. I haven't actually done it. I haven't. Yeah. I love the community that this YouTube channel has made. Listening to all the people, so it's very interesting to see all those different opinions. I get pretty animated, on social media and that, but I'm not a sack Chris Scott out guy. I'm not that type of person. I never probably will be. But I do love showing passion because I love this club. So when you do show emotion, sometimes it can get the best of you, but at the same time, you've got to be sensible with it. And that's very hard to do when heat of the moment, blah, 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 and all that nonsense. But I just think what we've got going here is pretty good, and I thank you and Ben, you and Paul for making this channel and getting the Geelong community, football community together, which I think you've done extremely well in over the years. But back to the game, I actually want to ask you a question. How did you see Stengel's game? I thought, minus the mistake he made playing on, I thought he was a bit quiet, but he tried. He always tries, Stengel. I'm never going to question his effort, but I just thought he was just a bit quiet today.
Can I just say, the choice to play on, clearly the kick was a dodgy kick. So maybe if we were going by the Port game, we bring that one back because it was an advantage in the end. Isn't that the rule now that you bring it back? I don't know. I jest a little bit there, but when that happened, I thought, well, what about Jamie McCann? What the hell happened there? Why wasn't that advantage? No, look, I actually agreed with the umpiring decision. It should have been interpreted the same way in the Port game. If the player elects to play on and they stuff it up, well, they've stuffed it up, and you point the finger at the player. So I was in the moment, I was a bit grumpy with Stengers. I thought, mate, what are you doing? You heard the whistle. What's going on? Like, why'd you play on from an angle and take a hero shot at the goal? I just thought there's no need for that. But I wasn't shocked when the umpire said, well, you had plenty of space, you took it on, and you made the angle 3 times harder than it needed to be. But good for you. You probably umpire thought, well, mate, you're a freak. You kick these ones every other week, so maybe I thought you were going to kick this one, but unfortunately not. So, look, he was okay. If you asked me the question about what I thought of his game, I thought he was fine. I think with small forwards, sometimes you're going to just look amazing. Like today, it was Dempsey. He was the one that was terrific. Just had a look of confidence about him too. I don't know. I mean, I was up close on the boundary line. I could just, mate, this boy looks like he really believes that he belongs now. He looked nervous for the first few games of the year, like, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure if these guys think I should be their teammates, but he was like, no, I'm taking over this game. And he had that look on his face, like, I'm taking this game. I'm going to win this game.
It was a coming of age game. He hasn't had a game like that since round one this year. Yeah. It's been good enough to stay in the team, but he hasn't had a podium type game where best three on the ground until tonight. And where is he in the poll? Let me double check the poll. I reckon he'll probably go underrated. I think there'll be a lot of votes for the midfielders, but he should be up there.
If you haven't voted in the poll yet, people, I'm closing it, and if it's on the YouTube one, so you'll have to jump onto that one if you want to get it. I'm closing it shortly, but it looks like he's getting on the roll of honour again for the second time this year, which I love because he's 46%. He's jumped up again. You're talking about a player. Poor old Tom Atkins got of the vote.
Oh, poor Tommy. I might have to change that. Give him a vote. Just speaking of Tommy, a different Tommy, Hawkins. I mentioned last week that I'd like to see him kick a bag. Now, there were some people in the comments saying I was a bit harsh on him. Hello, F-50 aircraft. People were saying I'm a little bit harsh on Hawkins. Look, I thought he was real quiet. Yes, he kicked 2 goals, but I think he only had 12 touches. So, yes, he kicked 2 goals, but I would have loved for him to have that bag, against this Richmond VFL team. Just kick 4 or 5, get his confidence right up, because a lot of game time, he was unseen. When he popped up, he kicked his goals, but he went missing a whole lot through that game. I don't know if you agree or not, but that's how I saw it.
Yeah, no, probably my comment about Tommy Hawkins was a couple of things. 2, I'm really happy that he kicked a couple of goals. Yeah, I think Tom needs to kick multiple goals to feel like he's contributing to the team. So I was very, very happy with that. But the other thing I just wanted to comment on real quick was just that he was double grabbing it a little bit tonight. He just, he's missing the handball targets and did some really good things too. I'm not just going to point out the things he did wrong, like kicked a nice goal, hit a few teammates on leads and things like that. Seemed to be trying to put a bit more, use his body a lot more. He's clearly slowed down significantly, and probably the game's just getting a bit too quick for him. The speed of the ball and just. You can't afford to double touch the footy in today's game, and just a couple of times you just had to be really clean there. And Stengel's great like that normally. Stengel's fantastic. So you always count on him, and Ollie Dempsey was just pure tonight. It was just he very rarely fumbled it, but just Hawkins, 3 or 4 times tonight. He just a couple of little things and just missed it just a slightly bit off, but a couple of goals. That's probably all you expect from your forwards, really. I mean, you want a bag from them. It doesn't happen in most weeks, but a couple of goals. He's a little bit closer to that big 800. We'll get him there. We'll get him. He's only a few more weeks away. Maybe a big week next week against the Swans when we bury them by 77 points at the SCG. AFL World stopped and talked about the Cats for the next week about how we're premiership favourites again.
Regarding that, actually, just before that, I wanted to regard on Sydney. Probably another player that hasn't been mentioned much is Tanner Bruno.
Love him.
Yeah, I think he's a great. I would like to see him in the midfield in the clearances. There was a little bit of him today in there, just a little bit. I would like to see him transform into an inside mid, because I think he's built for that. He's a pretty built guy, and I think
tough nut too. Like he's watch him up close, and he doesn't mind throwing things around a little bit. But yeah, he seems to be off the ball a little bit. I'd love to see him a little bit more inside. I wouldn't say he's an outside midfielder, but he's sort of that mid kind of range. No, I thought he was good. I thought he was good tonight. I very rarely watch a game of his where I think, oh, he's a bit off, and kicked a great goal. Loves the celebration, the man. And smiling a bit more these days too, which is good. So didn't smile much in the early years, but that's what happens when you get drafted to GWS. Why would you?
Yeah, that photo is going to be around for the rest of his career, isn't it?
By the way, look, if you're comparing apples with apples, Dustin Martin, he's not a big hulking forward, but 15 touches, 2 goals. So similar stats to Tom Hawkins, really. He looked terrific in the first half.
He did, yeah.
Tom just kind of plugged away, and Dustin's just too old now. He's clearly showing his age a little bit. He can put together a couple of really good quarters, but he's not the same player as he once was. And will we finish up either at the end of the year or when he hits a milestone, which shouldn't be too far away, I wouldn't have thought.
You're probably right. Probably last year, or if not, very close next year. Same with Tom.
Go up to Gold Coast, you reckon? Maybe.
Well, apparently he loves Dimmer, so he might, play 1 year up there and do the Gary Ablett and get depressed and think, geez, why the hell did I spend all my time up there, my last year there? I think if Ablett had, that's always one thing when you go to those clubs. I still can't get over Ablett going there. That really hurts me, that one. I know why he did it, but it is what it is with that one. With the next week, I think it's the next week, or do we have the bye?
One more week and then the bye.
Yeah. So against Sydney, I don't like our chances with that one. The one thing with Sydney that really concerns me is their speed. Warner, Heaney, just very quick, damaging players. And that first half, we talked about, Liam Baker, what he did to us in that first half. Well, can you imagine what Heaney and Warner were going to do to us if they get on that kind of roll?
Mate, their defenders are better, their mids are better, and their forwards are better, and they're absolutely flying. They're full of confidence. They're at their home deck. There's no reason to pick Geelong, but that's not to say that Geelong won't somehow find a way.
Oh, absolutely. I would love Geelong to find a way, and your last caller said that, Sydney are due to lose a game. I just don't think it's in Sydney. If this was in Geelong, I'd be more tempted to go with that. But in Sydney, I don't think they've lost a game in Sydney. Did St Kilda beat them up there? Or was that at Melbourne?
Well, the only team they've lost to is Richmond, funnily enough.
Oh, Richmond. So. Richmond. Was that at the SCG or was that at MCG?
I'm not sure. It could have been there. I know it was a bit hazy that day.
Yeah.
I can't remember where that game was, but it was. It was the only one they've lost is Richmond somehow. I don't know what happened that day, but maybe they probably do another one. They probably do a really dodgy day. So John Longmire, I know he stays up late in bed with his cup of cocoa watching us on Post Game Live. I know Isaac Heaney is there as well with his hot water bottle in bed with him. He's probably watching us as well. So guys, I think you're probably due. You probably need to manage some players. Maybe just take it easy. Geelong's, you've got a nice little buffer on the Cats now, so just ease up a little bit, I reckon.
They're still going to finish on top of ladders. They're still going to make top 4. They're going to still have home finals. So, if you want to drop and help us, that'd be really handy. Before I do leave, I actually want to talk about a player that I think Geelong should invest in, and we've looked at him before. That's Ollie Lloyd from Port Adelaide. Ollie Lloyd? Yeah, Lord, yeah. I'm going to give you some inside scoop here. Charlie Dixon is keeping him out of that team. So Lord had an injury early in the year. He's played 2-3 games in the Sandful. But at the moment he's not really getting rushed to be picked in the team. because of Finlayson, Dixon. God knows why you'd want to play them. But I would love to see at the end of the year, I'd like to see Geelong go after him and say, you know what, especially if Tom Hawkins calls it a day, and say, you know what, we've got a spot available. This is if Tom Hawkins calls it a day. We've got a spot for you. You've had finals experience, as he has. We'd love you, and you're from Geelong as well. Come in, straight into our team. Best 22 every week. I would love to see that. I'd love to see him at our club next year. If Port are not going to play him for some reason and want to pick Dixon, I think Geelong should just say, you know what, you're a very good forward. I actually think he's very good. He really impressed me last year, especially late in the season, where he literally came from nowhere and kicked 4 or 5 goals and played in that final, kicked a couple of goals in that final last year. I'd love to go after him. So if Geelong... So what are your thoughts on that, Ben?
Well, firstly, I think we've got to raid the Bulldogs. We've got Bailey Smith coming our way. And
I'm not keen on that one, Ben. I'm not keen on that one.
I quite like a bloke called Marcus Bontempelli as well. And I'm hearing that he's desperate to get down the highway to Geelong. Wants to finish his career with 3 premierships. I think he's very, very keen. And we'd probably find a spot for him in the midfield, I think, at the moment. Hopefully there's a couple of players that want to come our way. I was big on Ollie Lord last year, but then, he had a good run of form. I haven't really seen much of him this year at all, so I don't really know. I felt like planting a seed with him last year a little bit that maybe down the track. Think about Geelong. Just maybe just think about where your future is, and do you want to play with some stupid team in South Australia that has everything about them is just ridiculous? Why would you play for them? They're going nowhere. They'll be sacking their coach at the end of the year, even though I reckon he's a pretty good coach still. But for whatever reason, it's just not clicking there. But Ollie Lloyd. Now you've got me saying Lloyd. Ollie Lloyd. He's coming our way. He's coming. Good Lord. Good Lord. He's coming our way.
Another one that I like is Cadman from the Giants.
We'll have him. Any other number 1 picks? If you got your eye on Cadman, we'll take them all. If you want to throw them at us, we'll have them.
Well, we are a destination club at the end of the day.
Harley Reid's probably 2026, I think.
Yeah.
We can't. Not even though he's probably not going to win the Rising Star. That's probably Ollie Dempsey's got that locked up now. Clearly, I think bookies would be he'd be the hot favourite with the bookies now.
Yeah, after that Harley Reid,
poor old Harley Reid's just kissed that goodbye. Which will be stupid, really, when people look back at that in 10 years' time and go, "Who won the Rising Star?" Hang on a sec. What about Harley Reid? Anyway, probably how they look at Tommy Hawkins not being in the 2007 grand final. He wasn't better than Nathan Ablett that year. But it was basically Mooney and a bit part player and a passenger and Nathan Ablett really. It was fantastic in that grand final. I could digress about Geelong in grand finals for another 2 hours, but I should wrap the show up, shouldn't I?
Yeah. I would love to talk about that grand final, especially if Port Adelaide played in that grand final. I would love to give to the Port Adelaide fan base all day long. But no,
we'll dedicate an episode to that very soon. The whole episode of just picking it up opposition fans. Don't worry, we've got the Hawthorn game coming up in about how many weeks now? Not too far away, so don't worry about that. They'll be hearing all about it.
And I love it. It's in Geelong, and it's about time. About time that they played us in Geelong.
I do have. There is a guy that supports the Hawks that's got a YouTube channel. I'll see if I can get him on as well. He's one of the few Hawthorn fans that I can tolerate, so I'll give him a go.
Geez, you can tolerate a Hawks fan? That's something.
I don't know how. Well, because he kind of covers AFL more broadly, so I just wish I didn't know he liked the Hawks. That would probably make it a whole lot easier for me. Anyway.
All right, Ben. Well, thanks for having me, and have a good night, and go the Cats as usual. And I don't have much hopes for Sydney, but I'd love to be proven wrong next week. So Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I've got hopes. I've got big hopes. Don't worry. 77 points. Clip that. 77 points. Cats will just roll Sydney. A couple of comments before we close out the show. Thank you to everyone who's been watching and tuning in and joining in on the chat, jumping in as guests as well. How do you say that? Cluser, I think. Sorry. When is Bruin going to get more than 60% of game time? I don't know. Next year, maybe. It's been this way for a while now. I don't know. Clearly, he's a burst player, and that's works better for us. Atkins was a bit like that for a while too. Didn't play more than 55, 60% of games. Yeah, I'd love to see him get involved a bit more. I think that would really help. Maybe he just got to build his tank a little bit more. Really, really dedicate himself in over a few preseasons just to build that up. But maybe that's just not naturally going to work for him. Not everyone's got the tank just to drive them in those roles. No, I thought the last one was hard to say. Bussy Sniffer. There you go. It's late. I can probably get away with it. Get Matter and Hardy in there for sure. We've got to get Matter and Hardy there. I don't know how to say that name. NM Bussy Sniffer. There you go. Thank you. Matty Turner. That's an easy one. See, that's a nice, easy name to say. Matt Turner. Hardy needs to be elevated to the list. I think you can't play rookie listed players unless a long-term injury happens. That's what my thought was as well. But then other people are saying they've changed the rules. So I don't know anymore. And F-50 aircraft, Hawkins is coming to the end of his career. His output tonight is probably what you'll get for the rest of the season, but don't expect bags of goals each week. But wouldn't it be nice if we got one more? Has he got one more in him? I'll take a bag of 4. I'll take that. Come on, Tom. One more for old time's sake. Give it to the fans. They want to clap you. They want to cheer you. Just be their hero one more time, Tom Hawkins, please. Maybe 6 more times. Win us a grand final. That'd be good too. Guys, thank you very much. Thank you to our sponsor, Valhalla Brewing, as well. I did have their name up a bit earlier somewhere, I think in the top left corner. Thank you for your support of the channel. It means everything to us. Thank you to everyone who's a subscriber on the show. I think we've just jumped a few more tonight as well. So I really appreciate supporting the channel, supporting, joining the conversation. It's probably more important than anything else, really. Having a bit of a chat with us on the Twitter and the socials, and make sure you check out. I think Paul's recorded a reaction video, or he's recording that tomorrow morning. So I imagine that'll be a pretty positive video. So check that one out tomorrow morning. The chaps will be back on Monday night. So if you want to see their recap, a full detailed recap, usually about 30 to 40 minutes, I think they go for. On the YouTube, it's a bit longer. It's about 15, 20 minutes longer on the Patreon side. If you're interested in checking that out, it's free memberships for 7 days. If you just want to have a bit of a sticky beak for 7 days and see whether it's for you or not, that's fine as well. I think it's about $5 a month, I think, roughly. So, it's good value. I think it's good value anyway. We put a lot of time and effort into it, as well as the YouTube channel, but there's some things there just exclusively for Patreon members and some extra length videos as well. So little plug there. It's at the end of the show. I saved it to the end. But thank you again, everyone. The Cats have had a win. I'm going to play the song again. We'll see you on the next one. Let me just close that little comment thing first before I get rid of that. How do I get rid of that? Get rid of it somehow. Done. Hide current comment. There you go. Let me play it out one more time as we go into the night. Take care, everyone. Go Cats.